All right, we are now live. And hey, we have a question. This is a good one. How can I tell my friends to stop making fun of gay people since it isn't charitable? Good question. So, what is charity? Who knows? Yeah.
Charity is love.
Okay, good. Let's narrow it down.
Charity is doing something for others out of love for them because they need, you're giving yourself to them willingly because they need your assistance.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, willing the good of another. It's a great definition of love. So sometimes if I will the good of someone, I'm going to help them carry their things to the car. I'm going to tell, or I'm going to maybe have a good conversation with them, or I'm going to, it depends on the relationship I have with that person. Sometimes if I have a friend, say I've got a good friend of mine who starts to like get into things that aren't good for them. I see them like, I don't know, they're eating too much or starting to sleep too, or like stay up too late. They stay up till 3 every night and then they're falling asleep at school. It would be charitable of me to say, hey, I noticed this is going on. Are you okay? You doing all right? I'm not be like, what are you doing? So in charity, because I care about my friend, I'm going to say, is there something like going on, or maybe maybe it's not good to be staying up so late all the time. And this is just one example. So when I care about my friends and everything, I am, and the people that I love in my life, my family, friends, whoever it is, I want what's good for them, both physically and in the long term. So, woohoo! Yes. All right. Behold the man. Here we go.
Read the question.
So I'll keep finishing this, and I'll read the question for you too, because then you can jump in on too. We tag team it. So the question is, how can I tell my friends to stop making fun of gay people since it isn't charitable? So when we know that there's something that, I know, right off the bat.
Give me some water.
Is there water in the back? Okay. So when it comes to making fun of other people, like, everyone has a struggle, right? If I were to ask, you don't have to raise your hand, like, who here is struggling with something? Every hand would go up, right? You don't need to raise your hand. So in that struggle, my wish for anyone who's going through a struggle is for them to overcome it and to grow in holiness from it. So there are folks, and I'm not going to say the term gay people, I'm going to say those who struggle with same-sex attraction, because they're not defined by their attraction. I'm not defined by my attraction. That's not who I am. So just because someone experiences same-sex attraction, that's not their identity. That's not who they are. They're a beloved child, the son of or daughter of God the Father. So if I have friends that are making rude remarks about those who struggle with same-sex attraction, it's an act of charity, not only to my friends, but then of the people that maybe he hasn't even met, or those that he hasn't encountered, to say, hey, we want to pray for people going through a struggle, because I've got a struggle, they've got a struggle, you've got a struggle, we've all got a struggle. So if I'm going to sit and be like, hey, look at those people, that's childish on my part, and or maybe there's different ways of doing it, but that's also not thinking of the greater good for people who are going through it. So if you've got friends who are doing that, maybe just starting out off the bat, hey man, I don't appreciate you talking like that. I mean, everyone's going through something. Why don't we pray for them? Or I don't know about the relationship you have with this person, or you like, depending, hey, grow up. It depends on who it is and how your relationship is with them. But you can just say, I don't appreciate that. And if they judge you, well, don't turn it back on them. Why are you judging me? I don't appreciate that. You can go make whatever comments you want, but I don't want that. I don't want to hear that around me. You're not being rude or mean or anything to say something like that. Yes.
What about
Yeah, no, I know. So we hear the term, oh, that's so gay. I mean, people were saying that when I was in high school and when I was in middle school. That's been around for a while. I mean, it's not necessarily a good connotation, right? So if that's implying that, there's something, that's just terrible and wrong and awful and horrible. And I don't like using that term, and I don't like hearing other people that do that as well. Yeah.
Reminder, gay used to mean happy.
Yeah, gayism means happy, to be joyful. So it's just been it's gotten another meaning over time. So do you got anything you want to add to that? You were on live.
Sure. No, he basically touched all the points that I would have said. I mean, obviously, I guess the way I would answer it is we all have a special dignity of being a human person. And when Jesus says, don't judge lest you be judged, he's saying that, like, obviously we want to judge people's actions in the sense that, like, we don't judge them for who they are. They're a human person. And if they're going through something, I mean, we're all going through something. We all have deformities in a sense. We all sin. We all have our shortcomings. So we shouldn't judge the person for, this deformity that they have. We have to pray for them, and we have to, pray that in some way, the Lord maybe will, help them get through it, but we don't judge them for who they are because they're a human person just like you and I. So yeah, you basically touched on that.
Can I judge an action?
Yes.
I can say, hey, doing that is wrong. We get judgment so wrong in today's society. If I say, hey, drinking, say there's lots of booze in that cup. Hey, you're drinking too much. Maybe you should think about drinking less. That's not me saying you're a horrible person. I'm not judging his interior disposition. I can't judge anyone's interior disposition, but I can judge actions. And the Bible calls us to, actually. We have to judge rightly, but we have to have our own stuff in order first, right? I can't just go around and be like, you suck. But I need to know that I'm following and trying to grow in virtue as well. So, but judging a person and judging actions are two very, very different things.
All right. So this is the
Random question box.
oh man, okay. So that one's already been
That's one
used.
we already did.
All right, great. Oh no. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay, it says, if Jesus hadn't have been crucified on the cross, what would have been the symbol for Christianity? Ooh. I mean, Christianity is Christ. I mean, we all follow Christ. This is a really, honestly, it kind of contradicts itself, to be honest, because the whole point of Christianity is to follow Christ. And if Christ didn't die on the cross, I guess the way that I would answer it is, God's plan is perfect, and there's no other way that would be more perfect because God is perfect in his nature. So the way that it happened is the way that it is. So if we say if Jesus hadn't been crucified, there's really no other way because we follow Christ because that's what he did for us. I don't know if there's a real theological answer to that. I don't know if there is, but that's what I would say.
One thing I like what Father Lumberg says, to giving him credit, is that it would have taken literally only one drop of Jesus' blood to pay the atonement. But look what he did out of love for us. It was so, the cross, God's plan was perfect.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing what he did out of complete and total love.
Does that satisfy whoever wrote the question? All right. Were these all written by the same person? Okay.
Yeah, same pen.